A prototype of the massive spacecraft Elon Musk's SpaceX is building to take people to the Moon and Mars exploded upon landing just this past Wednesday after a seemingly successful launch and flight. The company still called it an awesome test. And Musk said the company got all the data we needed. Don't forget to watch today's video to the very end to learn exactly why it is so hard to land SpaceX's Starship. A deep-held passion. The Starship rocket has been Musk's passion for years, a vehicle that has gone through multiple design changes as SpaceX has worked to develop a craft that could eventually fly people to deep space. Before the test flight, SpaceX cautioned that there will probably be setbacks during the ongoing development of the vehicle. And before Wednesday's flight, it said that with a test such as this, success is not measured by completion of specific objectives, but rather how much we can learn, which will inform the probability of success in the future as SpaceX rapidly advances development of Starship. A successful ascent, Starship, made of stainless steel, with aerodynamic flaps to help control its trajectory, was supposed to fly to an altitude of nearly 8 miles, then fall back through the atmosphere in a belly flop position before reorienting itself, reigniting its engine and touching down softly. It appeared to have completed all of those milestones, except for the landing, which sent a fireball and a plume of smoke over the Gulf Coast. No one was on board and no one was injured. This was, however, not the first such catastrophic loss for the company, which has been developing reusable rockets for cheaper space flights. Smaller prototypes have already blasted off several hundred meters into the air for less than a minute as part of a series of tests over the years. After the flight, Musk tweeted that it was a successful ascent and that the vehicle performed well. There was low pressure during the landing, causing touchdown velocity to be high and RUD, he wrote, using an acronym for Rapid Unscheduled Disassembly. Even reaching apogee would have been great, so controlling all way to putting the crater in the right spot was epic. He wrote, adding, "Mars, here we come." With a test such as this, success is not measured by completion of specific objectives, but rather how much we can learn, which will inform and improve the probability of success in the future as SpaceX rapidly advances the development of Starship. A statement on the company's official website read, in response to the media, quoting the flight as a failed one due to the landing error, Musk's aspirational goal. In various presentations over the years, Musk has championed the need for a massive, heavy-lift spacecraft that could refuel in space and be fully reusable. At times, Musk has given grandiose presentations of the rocket and his plans to one day build a city on Mars. During an interview with the Washington Post in 2016, when Musk was calling Starship the Mars Colonial Transporter, he said his goal was having an architecture that would enable the creation of a self-sustaining city on Mars with the objective of being a multi-planet species and a true space-faring civilization, and one day being out there among the stars. The journey would be dangerous and probably people will die, and they'll know that, he said. And then they'll pave the way, and ultimately, it will be very safe to go to Mars, and it will be comfortable. But that will be many years in the future. Known for developing cost-effective outer space delivery system, SpaceX hopes to carry humans to Mars in the Starship. The company plans to develop a fully reusable transportation system designed to carry both crew and cargo to Earth's orbit, the Moon, Mars, and beyond. Starship will be the world's most powerful launch vehicle ever developed, with the ability to carry in excess of 100 metric tons to Earth orbit, the company has maintained. Upon completion, the massive spacecraft will be equipped with 37 engines at 120 meters height, a report had previously read. Musk, who has been a proponent that humans are meant to be an interplanetary species, said that he feels fairly confident that human beings should land on Mars in about 6 years and, if lucky, in 4 years. Starship's prospects. In a blog post before this latest flight, SpaceX said it was hoping to test a number of systems, including the vehicle's 3 Raptor engines, which burn methane and liquid oxygen, as well as how it behaves in the upper atmosphere. Instead of attempting to fly straight to orbit, SpaceX has been taking an incremental approach with Starship, flying to progressively higher altitudes and then landing the vehicle on a site near the launch pad. Despite knowing the test could fail or end in a fireball, it still broadcasted the flight, and scores of people lined the waterfront near South Padre Island, Texas to watch. The spacecraft that flew Wednesday was the 8th prototype SpaceX has built, and it says it has 2 more ready for the next steps in the test campaign. Musk has said he'd like the vehicle to make it to orbit by next year. While many in the space industry are skeptical of Starship's prospects, NASA has invested $135 million in the vehicle as part of its Artemis program to return astronauts to the moon. People in the industry were also skeptical when NASA awarded SpaceX a contract to fly astronauts to the International Space Station, saying human spaceflight should never be outsourced to the private sector and to a company as unproven as SpaceX. In May, SpaceX successfully launched a pair of NASA astronauts to orbit and brought them home safely 2 months later. Over the summer, NASA certified the company for regular crewed flights to the station, and it completed another mission last month, all part of Musk's ingenious plan. Preciously, in February, a gleaming 15-story rocket exploded in a massive fireball over a coastal testing facility near Brownsville, Texas. A video of the fiery crash, broadcast via YouTube by SpaceX, looked like something out of a Michael Bay blockbuster. To many observers, the crash of the SN-9 Starship rocket may have seemed like a significant setback for SpaceX CEO Elon Musk and his team of pioneering engineers who hope someday to take people to Mars. But to SpaceX principal integration engineer John Sprucker, the crash was all in a day's work. "We had, again, another great flight up," and Sprucker said in a video following the crash. "We just got to work on that landing a little bit." So, why is landing so hard? Sending rockets to space is hard. Landing them back on Earth intact so they can be reused is even harder. NASA has known this for decades, but now we are in a new era of space travel. With private companies like SpaceX, Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, and other private firms who are racing to open up space to the public in a way that only science fiction movies could imagine just a quarter-century ago. The February 2 crash came less than 3 months after another Starship rocket. The SN-8, the SN stands for serial number, also exploded on December 9, 2020 at SpaceX's Boca Chica facility near Brownsville, Texas. Though spectacular and seemingly dangerous, both explosions were not entirely unexpected. It's worth noting that both were uncrewed tests and no one was hurt. In a tweet on November 24, before the SN-8 launch, Elon Musk said that a lot of things need to go right and gave the possibility of total success a 1/3 chance. Despite the SN-8 crash, SpaceX declared afterward that the flight represented an awesome test and added, "Congratulations, Starship team." In a tweet following the crash, Musk said the explosion was caused by low fuel tank pressure. The SpaceX Starship program began in 2016 with the goal of launching cargo and as many as 100 people at a time on missions to the moon and eventually to Mars. During its early development stages, Musk said that the Starship vehicle could potentially launch people into space by 2020, but he has since backtracked on that statement, saying that there are likely hundreds of missions still ahead before that happens. SpaceX's reaction to screwed landing. SpaceX seemed to take the explosion in stride, assuming a seemingly nonchalant attitude towards the crash. In an interview on the Joe Rogan podcast on February 11, Musk said, "This is a test program. We expect it to explode. It's weird if it doesn't explode. Frankly, if you want to get payload to orbit, you have to run things close to the edge." With that, we end today's video. Don't forget to join in a next time for more of such interesting content.